Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Amityville Union Free School District Board of Education, March 18, 2026 meeting. Calling the meeting's order now at 5:36 p.m. In attendance at the meeting tonight is myself, Board President Lisa Johnson, First Vice President Juan Leon, Second Vice President Chris Neary, Trustee Megan Messman. It's anticipated that Trustees Carol Seahawk and Leslie Kretz will be joining us later on this evening. Also in attendance tonight is our Superintendent, Dr. Gina Talbot, our Assistant Superintendent for Instruction, Barry Stevens, our Director of Human Resources, Dr. Landau, and our Interim Assistant Superintendent for Finance and Operations, Joe Pagone, as well as the Legal Counsel, John Sheen, is here. At this point, can I have a motion at 5:37 to enter into executive session for one, advice from counsel regarding particular person's employment history, negotiation update regarding CSEA, and for interviews for our high school assistant principal. Motion. Chris Neary is first.
Second.
Juan Leon is second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 4-0. It's anticipated that we will resume open around 7:30 this evening. Thank you for joining us.
Patience and our delay in coming out. We are resuming open session now at 8:03. Please note the exits that are clearly marked in the case of an emergency. And if you can kindly silence your cell phone. And now please join the Board of Education in the Pledge of Allegiance. At this point in time, we're going to turn the meeting over to Dr. Talbot.
Good evening, Madam President, to the Board of Education, community, colleagues, and all who are in attendance. In my superintendent's report tonight, I'm pleased to share several highlights from across the district. Tonight, you will hear more about the Drama Club and their proud presentation of Cole Porter's Anything Goes. Their performances will take place on Friday, March 27th at 7 p.m., Saturday, March 28th at 2 p.m. and 7 p.m., and Sunday, March 29th at 2 p.m. Tickets will be sold at the door and are priced at $15 for adults, $10 for students, $5 for senior citizens. So wherever you find yourself, there's a place for you. We encourage our community to come out and support our talented students, who you will hear from momentarily. The Tide Mascot Survey is now available on our website and through our social media platforms. The survey takes approximately 2 minutes to complete, and we encourage all stakeholders to provide feedback by Wednesday, March 25th. During our St. Patrick's Day visit to Northeast Elementary, the building was filled with a sea of green and even more laughter and excitement. Our pre-K and kindergarten students eagerly shared imaginative stories about mischievous leprechauns who had visited their classrooms. We had lots of laughter throughout the day, and we also had the opportunity to observe some great, rigorous instruction by some of the exceptional staff. On March 13th, students at Edmund W. Miles Middle School participated in Career Day, gaining valuable exposure to a wide range of professions, including law enforcement, first responders, social work, healthcare, education, and journalism. And as always, members of the National Junior Honor Society demonstrated great leadership by assisting with coordination and guiding our guests throughout the building. At Park Avenue Memorial Elementary School, our fourth grade students recently participated in an informative Text Writing Celebration. The event was a tremendous success as students enthusiastically shared their work and spoke proudly about their writing topics. Congratulations to our Scope Education Services Award recipients. Ms. Sandra James received the Teacher Service Award, Dr. John Cardone, the Administrative Service Award, and Ms. Sandra Donovan, Support Staff Service. Each year, only 3 individuals are selected from each participating school district, making this recognition especially meaningful. So we proudly acknowledge their dedication, professionalism, and positive impact they have had on our school community. Let's pause and give them a round of applause. We also proudly acknowledge Dr. Maria Vineyard, assistant principal at our high school, who was recognized by State Senator Monica Martinez for her leadership in education during the annual Black History Month celebration. Dr. Vineyard was awarded as a dedicated and inspiring leader whose commitment to students, staff, and the broader school community is evident in all that she does. Congratulations, Dr. Vineyard. Would you stand? And although the SCOPE recipient awardees are not here tonight, they will be acknowledged on Monday night at the SCOPE Award dinner. But we do have with us Dr. John Cardone. Would you stand to be acknowledged? These events that we have shared with you reflect the vibrant learning environment and experiences and the strong sense of community that we have across our schools. At this time, we are going to ask Principal John Cardone if he would come forward to acknowledge the Amityville Memorial High School top 10 graduates.
Thank you so much, everyone. So these students are simply the best of the best. I'm so incredibly proud of them. When I was reviewing their transcripts and their scores, it was pretty stressful because of the courses and the hard work that they exhibited. The amount of AP classes and college level classes is really unbelievable, and how they performed, is really inspiring. And so it's an honor to be your principal, and I'm so glad that we get to recognize you all this evening. So, do you want to their pictures slide? Okay, so we'll recognize them one at a time. So number 10 of the class of 2026, Agoso Ojo. Number 9, Angelina Gomez. Number 8, Sydney McPherson. Daniel Salazar could not make it, but he was our number 7. Our number 6 is also not here, Brian Lucina Perez. Our number 5, Remy Johnson, also could not make it. But we do have our number 4, Ryan Daly. Number 3, Heidi Chavez. Our salutatorian, Elidi Laquadera. And our valedictorian, Christian Chicas. Again, I'm so incredibly proud of you. This is just the start of many celebrations from now until the end of the school year and beyond, and we're a family. We're here to support you forever, for future college, so you're always welcome at Amityville Memorial High School in the school district. So where would we like to take the picture? All right.
The top 10 graduates will have their pictures taken here alongside the Board of Education. And with the parents and family members of these scholars, please stand so that we may celebrate you. Let's give our parents a round of applause. You were their first teachers. You've done well. And our Board of Education?
That's my son's class, so it's cool. Good job.
At this time, we invite Dr. Fran Fernandez, our Director of Fine and Performing Arts, if she would come forward to introduce our next group.
Okay, good evening, everyone. The month of March has been designated as Music in Our Schools Month by the National Association for Music Education and Youth Art Month by the National Art Educators Association. To commemorate the celebration of the arts within our schools, many of our district students will participate in various art exhibits, music performances, and drama experiences throughout this month. To showcase this month of the arts tonight, we have a very special performance for you. Please help me welcome two members of our Amityville Memorial High School Drama Club under the direction of Mr. Joe D'Amato Garcia with a preview of their upcoming performance.
Thank you very much. Anything Goes is a lively, fast-paced musical comedy set aboard an ocean liner traveling from New York to London. Featuring the witty, sophisticated songs of Cole Porter, the show follows a tangled web of romance, mistaken identities, and comic misadventures. With colorful characters including nightclub singer Reno Sweeney, lovelorn Billy Crocker, and a band of quirky passengers, the story blends tap dancing spectacle with clever humor. Packed with classic songs like Anything Goes, I Get a Kick Out of You, and You're the Top, the musical celebrates love, chance, and the delightful chaos of life at sea. Please see the Amityville Memorial High School Drama Club's performance of Anything Goes next Friday, 3/27 at 7 p.m., Saturday, 3/28 at 2 p.m. and 7 p.m., and Sunday, 3/29 at 2 p.m. Tickets are $10 for students and $15 for adults. The Saturday 2 p.m. matinee will also feature a senior citizen discount where tickets will be priced at $5 for that performance for seniors. Please enjoy this performance of You're the Top from Anything Goes, performed by Naomi Chavez Duran and Jackson Nearing.
I hate parading my serenading as a hopefully pencil. But if this ditty is not so pretty, at least I'll tell you how great you are. You're the top. You're the quality of. You're the tower. You're a melody for the symphony by Strauss. You're a mental body, Shakespeare sonnet, you're Mickey Mouse. You're the Nile. You're the Tower of Pisa. You're the smile on the Mona Lisa. I'm a wonderful cat, full of breath of love, but it feels like you're the top. Your words poetic are not pathetic. On the other hand, they shine, and I feel red fine. I'll feel the vine down my spine. If the humans like those of you might think that your song is bad, but I got just a second. If this is what I'm going to have, you're the top. You're the hand of the baby. You're the top. You're the podium. The summer nights, babe. You're the cash account. You're cellophane. You're squad. You're a turkey dinner. You're tied on the turkey dinner. And if baby I'm on your top. You're the top. You're an arrow caller. You're the top. You're a $10. You're the next one right in the speed of the magic spin. You're a no-no-no. You're a whistler's mama. You're a pro. You're Inferno's Dandy. You're the home on the great Dorothy. I can set the way of the first day that's wrong. It's even on your top. For the top, you're a dancing belly. You're a sound. You're a hot symphony. You're a Botticelli. You're Uncle T. You're a blue. You're the Dan hat holder. Or a West shoulder. I'm and if baby I'm the bottom, you're the top. You're the top. You're all the salad. You're the top. You're a berlin salad. You're the monster lion. Sleepy guy to see. Arnold the master. You're the lead. You're romance. You're the sex of Russia. You're the man. I'm a roxy hustler. I'm a broken doll. Oh, roll of love. Hey, baby, I'm the bottom. You're the top. So proud to be thank you. It's amazing.
That was fantastic. Let's give them one more big round of applause. Thank you so much, Mr. D'Amato Garcia, Dr. Fran Fernandez. Get your tickets today. It's going to be a dynamite show. They did an excellent job. We're so proud of you, Naomi and Jack. At this time, we're going to transition to a transportation presentation. This presentation will be facilitated by our Director of Transportation, Mr. Nate Spence, who was recently selected by New York State as one of 6 master safety instructors throughout the state of New York. Yes, congratulations. And on the agenda tonight, the board is going to entertain 2 resolutions that pertain to transportation. These propositions may appear on the May 19th ballot based upon the board's final decision. So tonight you will hear discussion about the 2 resolutions that are presented, and Mr. Spence is going to walk us through some of the requirements and other pertinent information that would be beneficial to the discussion moving forward. So without further ado, I present to you, Mr. Spence.
Thank you and good evening, everyone. That certainly is a tough act to follow. We're going to, as Dr. Talbert said, talk about transportation mileage for in-district. I wanted to give you all some reminders. The mileage that we are currently under is pre-K to grade 3, half a mile, 4 to 6, a mile, 7 to 12, a mile and a half. NYSED minimum mileage is K to 8, 2 miles, and 9 to 12, 3 miles. For our special education students, we're required to transport them up to 50 miles. And last year, we changed our private and parochial mileage from 15 to 17 miles. I'm going to present 3 different options to you. Option 1 is keep the 1994 mileage specific specifications. Revert to the building level mileage is option 2. And option 3 is adding mileage to the middle school and also subtracting a bit from Park Avenue. Option 1, this is the one that we are currently under. We are going to continue the 1994 referendum should we choose this option. That would mean that the grades pre-K to 3 stay at a half a mile, 4 to 6 a mile, and 7 to 12 a mile and a half. The estimated budget for that is $7,183,000. Some facts about this option. As I said, it's the current plan that we're following. The reason why we went to this plan is previously we were doing building level mileage. So we'll talk about that in just a few moments. This plan, the difficulty that it's caused this year is students have different mileages in different grades. So an example that I can give you with this, if a student lives 1/8 of a mile away and they have a 3rd grader, that 3rd grader meets the mileage, but the 4th and 5th grade students do not meet the mileage. Option 2, now the changes I've highlighted in yellow so you can see, and as I said, this is what we were previously doing for many years. We would revert to building grade level mileage. So we would go pre-K to grade 2, half a mile, 3rd grade to 5th grade, a mile, and 6 to 12, a mile and a half. We would save $200,000 if this were to be adopted at $6,983,000. As I said, this plan was put into place many years ago. A referendum was not put out to the voters at that time. The plan has been in place for, from what I've heard, over 15 years at this point, until we've reverted back to the 1994 referendum this school year. This plan would align the buildings to have no differentiating service for the different building grade levels. And this plan goes back to the most logistical routing option, and it reduces costs of routes. Option 3 that was asked of us is to add mileage to the middle school. And as I said, this would subtract a little bit of mileage from the 3rd grade. So we would do pre-K, 2nd grade, half a mile, 3rd to 8th grade, a mile, and 9 to 12, a mile and a half. This would add $250,000 to our current estimated transportation budget for $7,433,000. As I said, this plan would increase service level to the middle school, and the 3 through 8 grades would be eligible for a mile or over. This would be difficult to try to put into place because we would need about 4 to 6 more bus routes at the middle school. Right now, our high school gets out at 2 o'clock and the middle school gets out at 2:10, and there's no way for us to use those buses at the same time. And I would definitely suggest further analysis be conducted if we were to choose to do this option. I wanted to give some ridership analysis of what that would look like. So if we were to stay with option 1, we would not lose any riders. If we were to choose option 2, 3rd grade, we would lose about 36 students in the next school year. And 6th grade, we would lose about 80 student riders if we were to go back to the old referendum. Option 3, we would decrease 36 students from the 3rd grade, but we would increase 50 students to the 7th grade and 85 students to the 8th grade.
Sorry, Mr. Spence, can you just go back to that? I'm still reading.
Sure, no problem. So the cost analysis for this, as I said, this maintains our current 1994 proposition and no new voter referendum is required. And as I said, the cost is $7,183,000. And we maintain 116 student riders having buses. And there's no change to the bus routes. If we went with option 2, this would revert back to what we were doing in previous years. We would need a new vote to authorize this. It costs $200,000 less, and it would reduce 116 student riders, and the bus routes and hours would be reduced in billing. Option number 3, we would also need a new vote. The cost of this is a $250,000 increase. This option decreases 36 3rd grade students, and it increases 135 student riders. We would have an increase of bus routes and hours billed to us because of this. I'd also like to remind everyone that safety is in everyone's interest. Please talk to your students about waiting and watching their surroundings. Everyone, please stay alert on our streets. Parents, please teach your children traffic safety. And as a community, I think we all need to learn how to slow down a little bit. With that being said, I'd like to thank you for your time and answer any questions.
Thank you so much for the presentation. Do any board members have any questions?
Yes, I do. 2 questions. One would be for Mr. Spence and the other would be for Dr. Talbert. So what would the impact of the school safety zone study be on this?
So we did a little bit of preliminary school safety zone work, and what we found is we do not have any eligible school safety zones that would enhance the mileage or give us a enhanced SED state aid.
My question for Dr. Talbert, I don't know if there would be any way for you to get this information, but I'm assuming this would help increase the attendance at the middle school level with these changes. Is there any way to tell what that impact might be?
Well, certainly we have a number of students who have challenges getting to the middle school. We have fielded inquiries and phone calls from parents regarding particularly middle school transportation. As noted, option 3 would increase ridership for our 7th and 8th graders. However, it would decrease ridership for our 3rd graders. At Park Elementary, it houses 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And at the middle school, we house 6th, 7th, and 8th. Increasing transportation on any level would certainly increase attendance.
And Dr. Talbert, I did forget to mention one thing. The 1994 referendum, the reason why the grade levels are different is we had different grade levels in different buildings at that point. So that's why it looks that way. So it did match what they were using for those buildings.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I
Just move the mic closer. Thank you.
question on, option 1, it's listed here, continue 1994 referendum, grades pre-K to 3.5 miles, and then you have grades 3 to 6.1, 1 point miles. So is it pre-K to 2 that we have now for 0.5 miles?
So option 1 is pre-K to grade 3.5,
Right.
4 to 6, 1 mile.
Oh, 4, okay. It has 3 on mine, that's why I asked.
It may have been an earlier version. I did notice that later in the day and I changed it.
That's okay, thank you.
Can you just clarify for me? For option 2, you have grades 3 to 5 as 1 mile. And for option 3, you have grades 3 to 8 as 1 mile. So in that slide where you give the columns of the grades, option 1, 2, and 3, why does the readership decline in option 2 and 3 if the mileage remains the same for grade 3? I'm just kind of missing this.
So the reason for grade 3 that it declines is because right now we're providing a half a mile for 3rd grade. So it would up 3rd grade from a half a mile to, it's a little bit confusing.
I got it.
I work with it every day and it's still a little bit, I have to make sure I
Thank you.
keep the right numbers on my head.
Could you just review the 1994 referendum once more? So
Absolutely.
they would understand the current mileage.
So the current option 1 is what we currently abide by. It's pre-K to grade 3, half a mile, 4 to 6, a mile, and 7 to 12, a mile and a half.
But I think like stated before, that being that the 3rd grade, if a household had someone in the 3rd grade and the 4th and the 5th grade, one person would get the bus potentially if they lived 0.8 miles away, but the other two
Exactly,
wouldn't.
yes. And I think we only had 1 or 2 circumstances where that occurred, but those people were quite displeased.
Right. And then last question, I know trustee Messman is waiting to ask a question, is years ago, we had parents who were coming to the board meeting because their children lived on County Line Road up closer to Southern State Parkway. And I think they were just under that, they were at a mile, but not a mile and a half. So their 7th grade and 8th grade had to walk to the middle school because they were under that. They were a little bit more than a mile, but not at a mile and a half. So if it was option 3, then that means everyone from grades 3 through 8 who lived within a mile would get transportation to the school.
Yes, that is correct.
Thank you. Trustee Messman, I think you were.
Sure, thank you. Thank you for the presentation. I didn't realize the urgency of casting this vote. That we need to have the notice for the ballots, I guess, to create the ballot. So we have to vote today. We have to vote today to be able to add the referendum for the first public notice.
Correct.
Okay, so I just want to say that because it would have been nice, I guess, to have this discussion a few meetings ago so that the community would have an idea of what we were considering. Um, I like the idea of being consistent per building. I was thinking that grades 3 through 5, due to the age, just being younger students, to keep that at a half a mile. Is that something that you had looked into, Mr. Spence? Just Park Avenue being a half mile for 3 through 5?
No, I did not do the analysis for that.
But we can tell you, Ms. Messman, that that would be significantly more expensive because it would add all of fourth and fifth grade.
Right.
A significant number of children would then be eligible for transportation.
Yeah, and I'm asking because of the age of the students and thinking of them walking if they have to walk. And now hearing that the safe zone like study that we embarked upon a year ago, I suppose, right? When we were kind of going through this last year, this time, and you're trying to get us more state aid essentially, right? So just to refresh my memory on the safe zone study.
Right, so if we did have any eligible child safety zones, we would be able to get reimbursed for state aid for those zones.
Okay, but we don't.
is correct.
So I hear you about adding more, but I'm just thinking about the age of the students in this building, 3 through 5 for the half mile, and not changing 6 through 12. So it's a little in between, I guess, options 2 and 3, because I think you're saying, Mr. Spencer, really the difficulty in option 3 is the start time of the middle school and the high school. Am I correct? I was thinking while you were talking, so I might have not
So-
heard you.
The bus contractor over several years has gotten requests like this, and I've been working with them to try to figure out what the numbers would be. And there, before this administration was here, were requests for the same type of information where they talked about needing to change the bell schedules to be able to get the buses more in alignment with sharing routes and using the buses in a more effective manner throughout the buildings.
Do you have more questions, trustee Mesmer, before I say something?
Jump in.
So for me, I know option 3 would be more expensive for the district, but I just reflect on when parents did come to the meeting. Like I said, this was a couple of years back, and they were speaking about the distance that their child had to travel when they lived there on County Line Road and crossing over, I don't know the name of the street, but they would cross over because they were down by the Southern State Parkway and they had to come down all the way County Line Road, get to the light, make a left, or even they continue down County Line Road. There was a lot of traffic on County Line Road, even on 110, and a lot of things if they have to cross over on 110, there's no crossing guards in those areas as well. And, I remember one parent just speaking about the experience of their child and carrying the instrument to school and anything and whatnot, and the distance that they had to walk. So it wasn't the distance, it was the amount of traffic that was the biggest concern for that parent. Not the distance, but the amount of traffic that their child had to deal with and the danger of the traffic, especially when there were not any crossing guards in some key areas. So there's a part of me that I lean towards option 3 for the simple reason that it addresses a lot of kids that would have to walk from that distance up that area, up behind 7-Eleven and up and over that area.
Understood, yes.
So it would cost more money, but I think for the safety of our kids, we've been very fortunate. We haven't had any issues with any kids getting injured, but it only just takes one child. And from there, go ahead, trustee
I'm
Kretz.
very concerned with a third grader walking a mile or riding a bicycle for a mile. That's a big concern for me, even a fourth grader. It's just not a good thing. To me, safety has to come first. And
It's always been a mile though.
yes, absolutely. And, these are great options and they can be, but not everyone's going to be happy. We know that. Not everyone's going to be happy. And for me, the community voted in a proposition last year. I'm thinking we should stay with that. It's in the budget already.
these other options, I just don't know if they're going to work. And I think basically because of the third graders, because of the young kids going for a mile. That's just my opinion.
I agree with what Trustee Kretz just said, so I'm not going to reiterate it. But my question is, can we see the report where we didn't meet the criteria for the safety research?
That was a report that was done by me. We chose not to go with BOCES because I've done reports like that in the past, and in talking it over with administration, previous administration, Mr. Snyder, we both agreed that it would be in our best interest for me to just do the study and not waste $5,000 or $10,000 with BOCES.
But we took into consideration, we have students crossing over Sunrise Highway, Southern State. I just find it-
Unfortunately, those child safety zone standards are more designed for upstate when they don't have sidewalks. As soon as you put sidewalks into the mix, it really lowers your score to be able to get a child safety zone.
Even with ramps coming off of highways and whatnot?
I totally agree with you, and that's something as a master instructor that I'm going to try to strive to change in the state.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
Thank you, Mr. Spence, for your presentation. Just so you know, I was a student from East Massapequa that walked to Edmund W. Miles Middle School across Sunrise Highway. And by the time I got to the high school here, my luck didn't change. I still didn't get a bus. So it was just tough luck for me, wasn't it? But my point, and this is more towards the board members, is that generally speaking, macroly speaking, it's tough to take something away from children once they have it. Okay? So I wouldn't be in favor of taking away any busing to any children. That is, to me, a promise from the school district to that parent, to that child, that we are going to get them here safely. They're already in, and to take that away from them is not fair. So I wouldn't be supporting any kind of plan that reduces busing. And before you were here, about 2 or 3 years ago, the board had a very serious discussion about busing. I'm very adamant about increasing busing for a variety of reasons. You know, increasing busing, I think, could increase students in chairs, which could increase learning, test scores. These are all hypotheticals. I'm sorry?
Go ahead, trustee, First Vice President Leon, go ahead.
I wasn't sure if Carol wanted to say something. No, okay. So about 2 years ago, we had a very, very good discussion with Mr. Dragone in his first incarnation with us. He's now in his second incarnation with us. And the idea was this. It didn't catch traction, but the idea was this: to be able to use buses more efficiently. So when one route ends, it can pick up another, and there's little to no waste. I know you know about that, and you can appreciate that. Mr. Dragone, a couple years ago, mapped out a very, in my opinion, a very good, a very comprehensive plan. The only thing was that start times for a school would had to have changed. So really, the question was, do we want to increase more busing and get more children to school safely, but start a school earlier? Or no, start the schools at the same time and don't increase busing. That was my take, and I'm not sure if Mr. Dragone, I'm sorry, Dr. Talbert, if it's right for Dr. Dragone to weigh in on that, because I know he was kind of the architect of that.
You said it very well, that it is possible to provide better busing services by changing the start times. I will tell you that the high school principal will have some difficulty if we tell him that his start time is going to be 8 o'clock and his children, I'm just making this as an example, and his children therefore don't get out until 3:15, and interscholastic athletics, Mr. Farkas will kill me because we won't be able to have any teams. On the other hand, if we started the middle school any earlier, I am sure there will be parents who say to us, "Are you kidding? My kid is standing out on the street now at 6:30 in the morning." So there are all sorts of issues with changing the bell schedule at the schools. Nate does a remarkable job of connecting. We call them routes, and within each route, there's runs. I may have that backwards, but one bus is utilized for several different purposes, and we make very efficient use of the buses that we currently contract for. We could, we always are looking to improve that. But you put it very well. We can increase services to children. You should know that the state requirement is that children be transported if they live grades K through 6 more than 2 miles away from home, and 7 through 12 more than 3 miles away from home. So our busing services are more generous than that. There are some districts that provide universal busing. Every child is entitled. And Nate would be contracting for 20 more buses. And we'd be spending not 7 million, but 10 million. So the issue for the board, and the reason why this is your decision to decide to present to the voters, is would you rather spend $3 million more on busing or $3 million more on educational services? And that's your decision with the community. That's your decision to make.
Thank you, Madam President. I will leave it off with this. I will reiterate what I said. I would not be in favor of any plan that reduces the current busing.
So I agree with you, Juan. I'm not comfortable with option 2, reducing the busing. And unfortunately, it seems like option 3 is not really fully vetted. And on top of it, we haven't really seen and digested the overall budget. So we're looking at this on this like by itself and without really understanding what the proposed budget is for next year and the proposed additional academic services or anything else. So at this point in time, I would be inclined to leave things the way they are, especially if only a handful of families were really negatively impacted and were complaining.
So I still like the idea of option 3. I do think that we do need to look at this a little bit further, more discussion, not more discussion on it, but similar to what Trustee Messman said, if we had a better idea where we were at in the budget, then we would be able to decide better about option 3. So I think right now, even though I like option 3, I think we should just stay where we're at and don't change anything. So don't adopt proposition 1 or proposition 2, just stay where we're currently at.
So that means that we will not be presenting a proposition to the voters. We will leave the budget at 7,143,000 or whatever that, 7,183,000. And we will return to this question 26-27 for the 27-28 school year.
So as we go around, so you want to stay with where we're at right now with option 1. Trustee Messman.
Agreed.
Yes.
Vice President Lee.
Yes, option 1.
Yes.
Okay. So thank you. So that means thank you for the presentation and for the discussion.
Thank you for having me.
All right. And so when we get up to the 2C2, there's no, go ahead.
So I would recommend that you pass this as a resolution, because you took a consensus and it's not a real action. So I think there should be a resolution, either for rejecting the proposition that's on the current agenda would have the effect of keeping things as is. So I still would move the resolution that's on the agenda, even if it ultimately ends up as not passing.
So make a motion for Proposition 1, and then have a motion for transposition proposition number 1, and then put up the vote, and then if it fails, it fails, and go to proposition number 2. If it fails, it fails, and then that means,
And that's.
okay. Okay,
I'm sorry, Madam President, before we vote, could we just continue the discussion?
I'm not voting, I was just clarifying.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So my question really is, like, where did this come from? Because it sounds like we're all very comfortable with leaving things the way they are. I mean, I'm not sure if, I don't know if Mr. Spence wants to come back up,
No,
but,
Dr.
I can
Talbot,
answer
Dr.
that
Talbot.
question.
Yeah.
oh, I'm sorry. Well, Dr. Talbert, I mean, is there something that
Yes.
hasn't been said that should be said?
No, I think everything has been said, but we did have a conversation with the board last year when this was brought to our attention by one of the trustees regarding our present transportation. And as a result of not being able to locate a referendum that authorized the district to continue the transportation that had been in place 10 to 15 years, as Mr. Spence said, we dug up the last referendum, which was 1994. At that time, the board had to revert to what was legally authorized to carry out. And so we reverted to the 1994 referendum, which did change mileage at that time. And what our conversation was here at the table is that we would bring it back to reconsider for more discussion for the 26-27 year vote. And so at or around about March 1st, we shared with the Board of Education the propositions and the options, and we did not discuss them in public, I don't believe, last meeting. And so we continued and provided you with the propositions again this meeting so that the board would have the option to keep what's the present transportation arrangement or to put out a new proposition on the ballot. So the reason it was brought back is because the board said that they would like to entertain it again for this voting cycle.
Any other questions or clarifications on this? So seeing none, I'm gonna move forward to the agenda. Can I have a motion for agenda items 2A1 through 3, can I do them all together?
We skipped community input.
Community input.
I'm sorry. Community input on agenda items only, I apologize. Please come to the mic. As a reminder for everyone for any input, whether on community, for agenda or non-agenda items, just please be respectful when you come to the mic. And remember to fill out a card. Thank you.
She has the card. Danelle Cronin, Amityville, New York. I just was looking for a little bit of a clarification. Am I saying it, pronouncing it correctly? Recovs? Yes? It's on the agenda? Am I saying it correctly?
Yes,
Okay.
excuse me 1 second. Can we just do the timing? Thank you.
Okay. I just want a clarification on my understanding of it. This is a grant, always taxpayer-funded money that comes in two forms. It's for mental health and for learning loss, correct?
Dr. Talbot?
The grant has those two purposes, and districts can write for either one purpose or the other, and they're awarded for either one or the other.
And this Amityville has written for one or two?
We were awarded for learning loss.
Learning loss. Okay, great. For the amount of?
Yes, Ms. Stevens.
It was $1 million.
$1 million. Okay. Now, it says it has to be matched. Is that money that comes out of our budget? Is that what the word match means?
So we are required to do matching funds. They can come from the general fund or other grant sources.
Okay. And where is ours coming from?
So over the course of the grant, it comes from different sources depending on the programs that we're using. Our current school year program, we are funding some of the transportation and security from the Leaders of Tomorrow grant so that we're matching because it's in the same time frame.
Okay. And just a quick question in reference to it. The total number of students that are involved, enrolled in the program is approximately?
So I would have to get you an exact number.
No,
There are
it's
different,
approximate is fine.
so we're running different pieces to that. So there are after-school programs. I would say there's about 200 students. I would really have to get you an exact number.
And
Our
exact isn't necessary.
weekends, we're running Saturday programs. They have currently just under 50 students running for Saturdays. We're hoping our school lunch programs will start up after approval tonight. So those don't have registration yet. And our first parent workshops will be this Saturday.
Okay, and the student-teacher ratio, how is that decided?
So we look at best practice. Currently, we're looking at approximately 10 students per teacher.
10 per teacher, okay. And there is transportation involved, like, because you're saying it's after school, so,
There is transportation for the after-school program.
okay. And what about the Saturday program?
There is not transportation. We chose the middle school because we thought that it was the most centrally located for all of the buildings.
Okay, so parents or caregivers they have to get the students there, the 50 students.
Correct.
Now, the after schools, they're in each of their buildings, or is it one central location?
It's in each building.
Okay. Now, does this take place of extra help, or is this in addition to extra help?
This is in addition to extra help.
Okay. And how are the students evaluated for their educational growth and how long is the program? Is it the entire school year?
No, the program just started in this second semester. It will run through the end of the school year. So each building has identified students who are experiencing learning loss, and based on the measure they use to identify them, there are benchmark assessments that they do report to us for our grant reporting process.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other questions regarding agenda items?
Good evening, Nakia Wolf, President, Amityville Teachers Association. In consideration or something for consideration, since you are going to be moving forward in your decision with transportation, has there, or can you maybe take into consideration a plan where it is that you have or just get some financial information relative to pre-K through 5, 6 through 8, and 9 through 12, and see what that looks like. Because then you wouldn't be taking away. You might also be addressing some of the issues that it is that you have with some of the parents, some of the members in the community. And as trustee members have said, they do not feel comfortable with taking buses away. And in addition to make sure that we do have increased ridership that could also potentially help with attendance, just so that the community could see how much it is that would cost, whether it would be the same thing, whether it be an additional cost, whether it would lie someplace in between, what it is that was proposed this evening. The other thing that I wanted to ask is that when information or when people come up for community input on agenda items, sometimes when you've already voted on it, is there an opportunity for any type of reconsideration or tabling of an item based off of feedback that you get from the community? Thank you.
Thank you.
So the consensus wasn't like a formal vote, right? Like we were just trying to gain consensus of like what we would call, right, Lisa?
Right.
To clarify what was questions.
Yeah, I think he was just saying, in general that if there is something that has occurred, if I understood correctly, if there's something that has occurred that we've already voted on, if it's something that the board would reconsider. I don't think and maybe I took it wrong. I don't think he was referring to our conversation with the transportation and what we're talking about there.
Christopher Peel, Amityville. Okay, about the buses. Okay, I kind of agree with I don't kind of agree. I agree with Trustee Leon. We have to put as many kids in the classroom as possible, and we have to get them off the streets. The traffic is awful. There's places, down south of Merrick Road that have no sidewalks whatsoever. And we had two major snowstorms this year, one where the snow didn't go away for 3 weeks. So I guess what I'm asking you to do is to, if you don't like Proposition 3 and you want to tweak it, that should be offered up as an option. Let's get as many kids on the buses and out of the traffic as we can and into school. Okay, and the second thing was something, I watched the last major board meeting last week on the Zoom. And I do have a problem with, non-village residents coming
So
up here.
I'm just gonna end you there because that's not an agenda item. So.
Can I come back later and bring
Yes,
that up?
yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Okay,
Thank you. I
that's all I
appreciate
gotta
you.
say. Thank you.
Any other questions on agenda items only at this time?
Can I ask something of legal? This is related to, I think, two community members are now asking us to reconsider like a hybrid, and I just want to ask something. Do we absolutely have the proposition on the first notice, or can we have it on the second or third notice? Because I feel like we might have missed the first notice last year. Maybe inadvertently, but I think we did with the transportation proposition.
You did.
We did.
You did. So, there is a provision in the education law that provides that there is no election is not overturned for want of notice. So it is, as best practice to have the notice in the first, but it is permissible to have it in later notices.
Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, so I guess in that vein, I mean, we could still explore it, and we haven't had our line by line budget meeting. We really don't have a budget, but I know for today, I know what we discussed for today, Lisa, but I'm just saying, if it's something that any of us at the board table want to continue to discuss.
Right, so not that I'm disagreeing with you, I'm just saying that let's stay focused on the agenda, and then if that's something that we want to bring up down the line in our discussion on the old and new business, let's do it that way. All right, let's move on. We're going to end community input on agenda items at this time. I'm going to go to the voting section. Can I do agenda items 2A1 through 3 all together, or does anyone need anything done separately?
Madam President, I would respectfully ask for 2A3 to be done separately for a possible amendment.
Okay. Can I have a motion for agenda items 2A1 and 2A2, please?
Motion to approve?
Juan Leon is first, Leslie Kretz is second. Any question on these two agenda items? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 6-0. Can I have a motion for agenda item 2A3, please?
Motion.
Chris Nairn is first,
Second.
Megan Messman is second. Any questions or discussion on this agenda item?
Yes, Madam President. I'm asking the Board of Education to consider on page 3, I know you don't have it open, but it says the item that was voted on, proposal of resolution to draft RFP to obtain search firm. If it's possible, can we amend that to put in superintendent search firm? Because search firm is just very bland in general. Is there any objection to that? Does legal have any objection to that? I could show you exactly how it reads.
Yeah, okay. So was this I guess my question is this how the agenda was, and is this how the resolution was read on that evening?
We didn't have a copy of the resolution, so it was read. So I don't recall if it stated superintendent. But I think it did, because that was sort of the
Okay.
question behind it.
So if it did, then certainly you can, okay.
So if it's all right, can I just make a motion to approve as amended?
Sure.
That's what I'm doing.
Okay, so there's a motion on the table, and it was a first and second. So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna amend the motion to approve this item by adding, but with adding the word superintendent search firm. So we're amending this item to add superintendent, the word superintendent, because search firm is already there. So we had a first, we had a second, so I'm just amending this item to add the word superintendent. So we can just now vote on it. Do we have to, excuse me, legal, do we have to approve the amendment or no?
So you have that's a motion to amend,
Yes,
right? So that's, you prove that now, and then you take the motion.
okay. So can I have a motion to amend to add the word superintendent?
So moved.
Second.
Leslie Kretz, Chris Neeren. So all those in favor of approving agenda item 2A3 with the amendment of adding the word superintendent. And we're voting in.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 6-0. Can I have a motion for agenda item 2C1, please?
Move. Second.
I'm sorry, Carol Seehofer is first. Megan Messman is second. Any discussion on this item? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 6-0. Can I have a motion for agenda item 2C2 related to regarding proposition number 1? For the
I
transportation.
think we need to clarify the difference between option one in the agenda
it's-
versus option one on the
No, it's
presentation.
proposition 1. So on the, yeah, on the agenda, it's proposition 1.
So,
So proposition 1, so the community understands, it's related to, in the presentation, it's related to option number 1. So proposition number 1 is related to option 1 in the agenda.
but we need to specify that that is not option one on the presentation.
Right, so what I'm saying is proposition number 1 in the agenda is related to resolution option 1 in the backup, but it's not the option 1 in the transportation presentation. Does everyone understand that?
Really not a proposition. We're remaining the same.
But I have to vote on it. I'm putting it to the vote that for transportation proposition number 1, which is option 1 as a resolution in our backup, which is not the same as option 1 in transportation. So the board understands this. It's proposition number 1. All
Ms.
those in,
Ms. Johnson, may I suggest that
sure can.
the motion just says the proposition which would reduce the cost of transportation, and then second,
That's fine.
proposition which would increase the cost of transportation.
So
That way, the record will be clear that you've looked at two potential propositions, one of which would reduce, the second of which would increase the cost of transportation.
So I'm looking, can I have a motion for agenda item 2C2, which is resolution option 1, which is a reduction in transportation costs by $200,000.
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Juan Leon is first.
Second.
Megan Messman is second. Any discussion on this item?
I don't like it.
You're gonna vote no.
Right, right.
All those in favor of it? All those opposed?
Opposed.
Aye. Motion fails 6-0. Can I have a motion for agenda item 2C2?
Motion to approve?
Hold on a second.
I'm sorry.
Option number 2, which is the increase in transportation to $250,000. Go ahead.
Motion.
Juan Leon is first. Carol Seehoff is second. Any discussion on this item? All those in favor? All those opposed? No.
Opposed.
Opposed.
Everyone's a no?
Yep.
Okay.
Opposed.
Motion fails 0-6. Okay. going to so we're past that. We're past that. We're up to agenda item 2C3. Can I have a motion for agenda item 2C3, please?
Motion to approve?
Juan Leon is first. Leslie Kretz is second. Just a discussion on this particular item for the legal notice. Just be aware there's different times in here, and that is correct. Those are the times that need to be there. And also on page 3 at the top, there's a word that says beginning. So that needs to be removed as well. So I'm going to just make a motion to amend this item to remove the word beginning on page 3 on top of the notice.
It's already been stricken in the backup.
Okay, so.
It's so you don't need to amend it.
Okay, no problem. So I strike that. Okay, so any other discussion on this item? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 6-0. Can I have a motion for agenda item 3A1, please?
Motion.
Second.
Chris Naren is first. Carol Seehoff is second. Any discussion on this item? Yeah, any discussion on this item? All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0. Can I have a motion for agenda items 3B, 2A and B, please?
Motion.
Chris Naren is first.
Second.
Carol Seehoff is second. Any discussion on agenda items 3B, 2A and B? Seeing and hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 6-0. Can I do agenda items 3B, 4A, all the way down to 3B, 4BV altogether, or does anyone need anything done separately?
Stop at O, please.
Okay. Can I have a motion for agenda item 3B, 4A to 3B, 4O?
Motion.
Second.
Carol Seehoff is first, Chris Naren is second. Any discussion on agenda items 3B, 4A to 3B, 40? Seeing and hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 6-0. Can I do agenda items 3B, 4P to 3B, 4VV altogether?
TT, please.
TT to 3B, TT.
All right, motion to approve.
Second.
Juan Leon is first, Chris Naren is second. Any discussion on this item?
Yes, I'm gonna stay consistent with my vote. I had voted no to the recovs out of querying, how do you ensure that there's no double compensation? And really, it just came down to just the master scheduling. And this one, we're bringing up doing the recovs during lunch period. So that just made me question too, like, how are we doing that with salaried staff, having them work and getting paid for their lunch period? And how are you bringing students during their lunch period? So there's a lot that I haven't had a time to query and understand and see back up. So that's why I'm asking for this to be separate.
Okay, any other, thank you. Any other questions on this?
Yes, Madam President. I have a question that's similar but different regarding recovs, and this is more towards the superintendent. Is there any possible way that we can also more gear recovs to after school, especially figuring that we don't have any after school grants? Is that not possible? Meaning that we don't have a grant for after school because it's ending. Could we use recovs for students to stay after school and do learning instead? Like, could we kind of kill two birds with one stone?
So recovs, there are a combination of ways that we provide intervention to closing gaps in learning loss. I'm going to ask Ms. Stevens to elaborate a little further. And there is an expiration date as to when the funds
Right, I just
have
wanted
to
to
be
make sure
utilized.
that it expires June 30th. And this is our last year of Leaders of Tomorrow as well. So were you asking to replace it thinking forward?
Oh, right. Right,
Right,
so,
or-
so both of these funding sources expire at the same time.
Right.
Okay, all right, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for clarification.
Any other questions or comments on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All those opposed? Anyone opposed?
Opposed?
Motion carries 5-1. Can I have a motion for agenda item 3B4UU to 3B4VV?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Juan Leon is first, Chris Naren is second. Any discussion on these items?
Just as, it's filled in on the copy everybody has.
Yes. Yeah, okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 6-0. Can I do agenda item 5A D to 5A to 5D altogether?
Just lump it together with like 7, 8, 10.
So can I do 5A to 5D, 7A to 7J?
Okay.
Okay.
Goes to K.
Okay.
Mine is a K.
I have a J.
Oh, I don't have a cat.
All right, see.
So 7A to 7K, 9A through 9H, 10A through 10F. Right, so once again, 5A through 5D, 7A through 7K, 9A through 9H, and 10A through 10F. Can I do them all together? Does anyone need it done separately?
Yes.
Can I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Chris Nair is first, Megan Messman is second. Any discussion on any of these items? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 6-0. Can I do agenda items 3C1 through 6 altogether? Or 7 altogether? Or does anyone need it done separately? Will there be the questions? If there's questions, that's fine.
Yeah, I have questions.
Okay.
Questions, yeah.
So do you want me to do it separately? Will it change your vote if after discussion? Anyone know? What you
Well,
think?
I have a question on, I have a question on I'm sorry, on C4.
Okay,
I'm
so-
sorry, it's C2 and C4, C2 and C4. Those are my questions.
So I'm not trying to put you in a position. Would you want me to do them separately or altogether? Do you think the questions are going to affect your vote? That's my question.
Whatever you like to do.
Okay. Can I have a motion for agenda item 3C1?
Oh, wait, it actually might.
I'll do 3C. Can I have a motion for agenda item 3C1, please?
Motion.
Second.
Carol Seow first, Leslie Kretz is second. Any discussion on this item?
I don't have my backup here, but this is a scholarship. I think it was an amount of $250, maybe if my memory is serving me. I just was wondering who. I'm sorry, a donation. I thought that it might have said scholarship, but I could be wrong.
No,
Just a
I
donation.
think it did have the word scholarship in there, but it was a donation.
Yeah. It just Bethel, it says Bethlehem Church Scholarship Fund, so go.
That's exactly why I had the question. So thank you. So that's it. I read it as a scholarship and thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions on this item? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 6-0. Can I have a motion for agenda item 3C2?
Motion. Sorry. go ahead.
Juan Leon is first, Chris Naren is second. Any discussion on this item?
Yes, Madam President, discussion. This is more of a financial discussion. I will send over to Superintendent. I see that we are paying out to the Farmingdale School District and also the Half Hollow Hills Central School District at two different rates for providing services. My understanding, tell me if I'm wrong, is that we have students from our district that are attending school in those districts, private, parochial, whatever, and we have to pay for health services. The cost per pupil was, I'm going off memory, one was roughly 1,300 versus another one was roughly 1,500 or so. Is there an explanation for why that is?
Yes, and just to clarify exactly what Trustee Leon has said, the Amityville School District has the financial responsibility for the cost of providing health and welfare services for Amityville residents who attend private schools. And so the services are supplied at various rates per school. And I'll ask Mr. Dragon to elaborate a little further on that.
The health and welfare services being provided are calculated in accordance with a schedule that the State Education Department gives us to complete forms, and therefore calculate the rate at which those services are costing the school district, we call it the school district of location, to provide those services. So it seems to me that Half Hollow Hills Central School District, using the same formula that Farmingdale uses, is paying their teachers for health and welfare services that they're providing more than Farmingdale. And therefore, the state formula, which is prescribed, does a calculation that says Half Hollow Hills is entitled to $1,500 per child, and Farmingdale is entitled to about $1,400 per child. There are 5 different school districts. You'll notice that the Hempstead School District is charging us $1,080 per child, significantly less. And that's because Hempstead is paying their staff that provide these services less than Half Hollow Hills. If we have private schools, if we have, and we do, St. Martin's as an example, and Half Hollow Hills sends a student to St. Martin's, we would be billing Half Hollow for the services we're providing at St. Martin's School to the children who are residents of Half Hollow. At our individual rate, whatever that turns out to be.
Yeah, so thank you for that, because what it says to me is that we are at the whim of the bargaining of other school districts. We have to pay that,
Yeah,
whatever they bargain with their members.
Yes, it is a requirement that
Understood.
they complete a form in which they spell out the cost of special education services, nursing services, the medical doctor, all of the services that are considered health and welfare services. They complete a form, they divide by the total number of students in their district, and then they charge us pro rata for those services.
Thank you.
Any other discussions on this item? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 6-0. Can I have a motion for agenda item 3C3 and 3C4, please?
Motion.
Chris Neer is first, Leslie Kretz is second. Any discussion on these two items?
Yes, Madam President. On C4, collective bid for tree maintenance service bid, I saw in the backup that this was a bid from 2 years ago. Now, I know we've had discussions on and off, but how often do we go out for these bids? My understanding is that it should be every 2 to 3 years.
Dr. Talbot?
Sure, we looked into this in depth because we were surveying our services as well as our bids for tree maintenance. And I'm going to ask Mr. Dragon to give us an update on this.
So the requirement is that under general municipal law, we are required to procure services at the best rate possible. Many school districts go out to bid every year for some of the services that they provide. Some school districts, like us, use cooperative bids, where we're one of a group of school districts that decide to divvy up the bids that need to be let. There's costs involved every time we go out to bid. So if we get together with 10 other school districts and we do the tree service while they do the landscaping service and somebody else does irrigation services, then we all cooperatively give a broader scope of work that we should probably get a lower price for. Now, in this particular circumstance, the bid that was awarded 2 years ago was the vendor is willing to hold his price with no increase for the past 2 years, going into a third year. In my estimation, as your business official, we are not going to do any better going out to bid and incurring the expense of legal, reviewing the bid document, advertising in the papers, collecting information. We most likely would get an increase in price, not the price being held, number one. Number two, the amount of service that we've gotten from this bid in Amityville has totaled $14,000 over the space of 2 years. In my opinion, again, as your business official, it would not be in our best interest to spend another $1,000 to procure a service that we've spent $7,000 a year on. And that's in accordance with general municipal law. And the attorney will correct me if I'm wrong with that. And finally, this bid is a cooperative. There are a number of other school districts that are dependent upon this bid being renewed. So those school districts would suffer from our not extending the bid. They'd also have to go out to bid or wait for us to do another cooperative. So for those 3 reasons, I recommend it to the superintendent. I heard your question. I appreciate it. If I thought we could get better pricing, I would recommend that to you, but we're actually freezing the price from 2 years ago. And to me, that's a good deal.
That's, Mr. Dragon, your point is well taken, and I understand where you're coming from. The point is this: if this were to go out to bid and they came back to us with a bid of $930, whatever it is, they would be the lowest bid and they would be the prevailing winner here. So I understand what you're saying, but on principle, I will be a no on this because it could lead to moving this same line of thought into other aspects of the budget, saying, here we are looking at the budget, page 56, we have this price. I don't think we can do better, so we'll just leave it. I'm not going to do that. Every 2 or 3 years, go out to bid.
Any other comments on this, anyone? All those in favor?
Wait,
Okay.
hold on a second. I think you just called 3 and 4 together, and I do have comments on 3.
I'm sorry.
So we'll just go. So on 3, there's a $6,000 grant that we're gonna use for professional development and to support multilingual students and parents to communicate with teachers. I'd like to understand a little bit more how this money is going to be utilized and how we're going to, I guess, measure the effectiveness of whatever we're spending the money on.
Dr. Talbot?
Sure. I'm going to ask Ms. Stevens to elaborate regarding our partnership with Suffolk Edge Teacher Center and how this has transpired over the years and what it means to increase our budget for $6,000 to accept this grant?
So the districts that participate in the Suffolk Edge Teachers Center are awarded this grant annually. We work with the Teachers Association to determine what the needs are that would benefit teachers and students in the district. So one is focusing on professional development, so being able to offer in-service credits for the teachers in the district. And the other is to ensure that teachers can effectively communicate with parents for parent-teacher conferences, phone calls, things like that. So in the past, we've bought devices that they can use during parent-teacher conferences. And this year, we're looking at some software options to help with that.
So instead of the device, you're saying you're investigating other options?
In addition to, so we
In
have the
addition to.
devices. So we're looking at options for presentations, some of the software we could use that would instantly translate for families.
Okay, excellent. That's good to understand better. Thank you.
All right, so I'm gonna, can I have a motion to rescind the motion 3C3 and C4? Because they're gonna have to be done separately. Can I have a motion to rescind the motion 3C3 and 3C4? I have to do them separately.
Motion. Second.
Juan Leon is first, Chris Neer is second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Now, can I have a motion for agenda item 3C3, please?
Motion.
Second.
Chris Neer is first, Carol Seehoff is second. We had a discussion on this item. All those in favor of 3C3?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 6-0. Can I have a motion for agenda item 3C4, please?
Motion.
Second.
Carol Seehoff is first, Chris Neer is second. There's been discussion on this item already. All those in favor of agenda
Can
item
I just have something, Juan discussed it, but in hearing Juan, I guess I would just ask that next year, we bring this earlier, a few months earlier, to when we need to execute the agreement, so that we can go forward and evaluate our policy and make sure that we are complying with the rotation of every 3 to 5 years
Bids.
with the bids.
Right, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All those opposed?
One opposed.
Motion carries 5-1. Can I have a motion for agenda item 3C5, please?
Motion.
Chris Neer is first,
Second.
Leslie Kretz is second. Any discussion on this item?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
You wanna go first? Oh. There's 11 items on here. So.
Just speak more into the mic.
Yes.
Thank you.
Sorry. So we're moving money from 11, 11 lines over to equipment maintenance. Can you give me an example maybe of one of those equipment maintenance? Because there is a lot of money here.
Sure. Mr. Dragon, would you like to explain it? If you look on the back page, it does have the school that it applies to in a brief description, but I'll ask him to elaborate on it for you.
I apologize. I didn't see it.
No, it's quite all right. It's because it is a somewhat unusual transfer. What we're doing here is, as you know, we can only spend money on equipment that has been approved by voters. We cannot move money into an equipment code. However, there are a number of pieces of HVAC equipment that we need to replace. Maintenance does not have money in their equipment line to do that. The lines from which these transfers are being made are lines that have not been expended to date for equipment. And if they haven't been expended to date, there's no expectation that they will be by the end of the year. So therefore, we're moving that money into the equipment line for maintenance so that we could appropriately purchase the equipment that's necessary to repair our HVAC systems.
Okay, so they're like student.
More to the mic.
Student furniture, $11,169. Okay, so that cleans them out,
Yes, it would.
basically.
It
Okay.
would clean them out,
And
yes.
okay, thank you.
Yes, and at this point, Ms.
No,
Fretz,
yeah.
it's March.
Mhm.
This equipment should have been purchased in September, October, if it was needed for the year. So,
No, all of it, even the athletics, the equipment for athletics that.
exactly the same rationale. If it
Okay.
hasn't been purchased yet,
Mhm. Mm.
yeah, it's a demonstration to me that that line was going to have money left in it. So I'm using it where it's needed, which is replacement of HVAC equipment.
I,
Thank
Chris, I think, Second Vice President Naring had a question.
My question was essentially answered. I was going to ask if any of these categories are going to be losing out with the finances being taken, but I believe that was answered in that previous explanation. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions on this?
Did you specify which buildings had the HVAC improvements? Did I read that in the Friday memo? What was the?
I did not.
Okay.
I know that there are a number of areas in the district that require air conditioning units to be replaced, et cetera. And if you want, we could, in the news and notes, send home to you a plan that Algalena has to expend this money.
Oh, yes. Yep. That would be helpful. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comment on this item? All those in favor of agenda item 3C5?
Aye.
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 Motion carries 6-0. Do you want me to do 6 and I'll do 7? Can I have a motion for agenda item 3C6, please?
Second.
Carol Seehoff is first, Chris Neeren is second. Any questions on this item, 3C6?
Hold on. I think I just wanted to make sure that we spoke to, and I don't know, Dr. Talbot, I think you had given us a nice explanation, really for 6 and 7, to really explain what it is. It could be- Yeah.
She did.
Mhm. But just to say it now.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, the Amityville Union Free School District is grateful to our Assemblyman, Kwani B. O'Farrell, who gave us an appropriation, a grant in aid of $75,000. And this $75,000, we are recommending it for the purpose of repairing our track. Our track repairs are at about $10,000. And track season is upon us, and it is certainly a need in our athletic department. We know that our track is aged, and eventually we will have to consider other options with capital improvements for our track. But right now, just to patch it up for a one-year repair, we're recommending the allocation of $10,000 toward that end. In addition, the softball field at the high school is in need of repair and attention. As you heard from the Superintendent Student Leadership Council, as we've been hearing from the athletic director and the softball team, they desire for their field to be Section 11 compliant, and we desire it even the more. And so we are recommending the allocation of the remainder of those funds to go toward the repair of the high school softball field.
Any other questions on this?
Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 6-0. Can I have a motion for agenda item 3C7?
Motion.
Wally on first, Chris Neeren second. Any question or discussion of this item? Seeing and hearing.
So this is a $2 million grant that we're replenishing what we borrowed from to balance last year's budget. Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 6-0. Can I have a motion for agenda item 3D1, please?
Motion.
Second. Chris Neering first, Leslie Kretz is second. Any discussion on this item?
Yes, Madam President, I do have discussion. So, although many of these questions are going to be directed towards finance, I know Mr. Dragon hasn't been here all that long, and this isn't really his work, but still, we do have some questions here. So, well, I'm sorry, I'll address them to the superintendent first, but there are several line items that are already withdrawn and depleted before the end of the year, which is concerning. It's okay to be a little bit under and you shore it up from somewhere else, but when I review this, it's very similar to when we got into that financial trouble, and that is just for example, if I go into page 3, if we go into the A 1620 lines, which are custodial salaries, and again, we're not picking on anyone. They do an excellent job. What I'm trying to figure out is why are they getting overspent like this so early in the year? Either it's bad budgeting or controls not in place. So just for an example, according to this custodial, we are over district-wide $38,000 according to this. I'm going to skip around. Custodial overtime for the high school, we are over $11,000. Custodial overtime for the middle school, over $13,000. And I just remember seeing numbers like this or a little bit worse, like I said, when we got into that financial trouble. So what can we do here?
So prior to Mr. Dragon giving us some more specific information, I want to bring us back to when the budget was developed and the $2 million that had not been received from our assemblyman at that time. And when the budget was brought back to the Board of Education, we were given an explicit instruction to balance the budget without the $2 million. And here at the table, we discussed that there would be programs and services that would be reduced until we're able to get the $2 million on the table. So we highlighted at that time that overtime was being cut from custodian department to balance the budget. So we knew going into the school year that the custodial line items would not keep up with the trend of overtime. In addition, this winter has been a winter like no other, and we've certainly increased in overtime across the district and through in all of the buildings, actually. So we realized that there are several line items that have exceeded its allocation. And previously, we talked about this being the season to make those transfers to balance out this prior to the end of the year. The prior business official gave us an early estimate in January that we would land somewhere between $2 and $4 million. Just last month, no, you've only been here 6 days.
Yes.
Just recently, Mr. Dragon pulled that in a little more and said we're looking at about 3.2 million. So we are going to definitely end the year in the black. It's just a matter of transferring these line items appropriately to balance that out in the end. And Mr. Dragon, if you could give further specificity to that, please feel free.
I'm so glad that you picked that particular example because we have a number of staff members who are positions that were not filled. And as a result, you will see in some of the lines a surplus. Like the high school line has $103,000 in surplus. Now, how are we doing that if we have missing staff members? We're paying substitutes and we're paying overtime. to the remaining staff to cover those assignments. So what you will see at the next board meeting is another budget transfer, taking money from contract lines, salaries that would be paid under contract, to the overtime and substitute lines to make up for the fact that we were missing staff members. Am I making sense to you on?
That makes sense.
Okay.
Sure.
And the other thing I would say, Dr. Talbot said it very well. The overall budget will end up in a surplus by about $3.2 million. I'm going to make another estimate at the end of March. On March 31st, I'm going to make another estimate. My first estimate was based on February 28th. I'm going to make another estimate March 31st. And the number I come up with on March 31st will be probably more accurate because we'll have spent more and I have to project less. Every month, I'll be giving you a new fund balance estimate. And by June, of course, we'll have the real number. But just to keep you in calm,
I'm already pretty calm. I'm
Yeah.
okay. Thank you.
We need to keep the budget in the black in accordance with what's called the ST3 level of accounts. So all of these 1620.16 codes that you're looking at, some of which are negative, some of which are positive, the fact is that we have more than enough money in those lines together so that at the end of the year,
I understand. It's in the black.
1620.16 will be in the black.
Right. I understand that. Those budget lines within the realm,
In the aggregate.
in the end are in a positive.
Right.
And that's good. But the way I see this is that those line items that are in the negative are being held up by those that are in the positive.
Right.
And that's how they're balancing out. So my question really is going forward, and this is part of the budgeting process, and that is,
Can we be more accurate in predicting what the salaries are going to be?
Yeah.
And which is exactly why we're not having the line by line meeting tomorrow night. Because when I
understood.
do present the line by line to you, you will see a list of every single employee in every line of the budget and their projected salary for next year, so that I can reasonably tell you that unless we get somebody to resign, unless somebody resigns and we can replace them with a lower paid person, we're going to have a pretty accurate budget for next year. All right?
Yep, understood. I'm sorry, I don't want to belay the point, but there's a couple of other things
Can
here.
I just want to mention something before we move to a different line. We've had this discussion over these specific lines a number of times, which just in the notes that I have from the February 11th meeting, I had looked at it, and these numbers from going back to October, we spent $14,000, but in overtime lines, but then those numbers seem pretty comparable. I didn't do the math on it, but they seem pretty comparable to the report that we're looking at right now. So I pointed out a few months ago that these lines were well overspent, and we had similar explanations from Dr. Talbert and Mr. Snyder at least a couple of times since then. And it's nice to see that there hasn't been much of a change between these two reports. So it's at least not being spent at the same capacity that it was. And I know we did get, I don't remember the exact number, Dr. Talbot, if you have it, on the Friday transmittal, gave the number that we spent just from the snow removal. I knew it was like
30,000?
30,000, okay.
30,000 for overtime and 8,000 for supplies.
Okay, and I'm sure it's still too early to tell what the cost will be to do any repairs in the parking lot or anything else that may have happened from the weather.
Okay, so moving on, and by the way, our previous financial person, when we talked about overtime and staffing and things like that, one of his answers or responses were there was nothing he can do about that, which, yes, yeah, he says that there was nothing we can do about that, and that's where I got a little weary on.
Actually, on that, Wanda, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
just to interject on the overtime. How do you how can you anticipate the overtime and how are we going to do that in next year's budget? Because I think that's to your point, Juan. We were told you really can't do anything about it. So how would you say, how are you planning on doing that in this next proposed budget?
So what we're going to do is we're going to present to you not only this year's budget and next year's proposed budget, but we're also going to present to you for each line of the budget, the past 5 years of expense,
Okay.
so that you will be able to track
Right.
from 2022, 23, 2024, and you'll be able to ask me, we've been spending $30,000 a year in this line. Why are you budgeting only 10? And I should be able to answer that question.
Okay.
Right? Or we've only spent $10,000 a year in this line. Why are you asking for 30? And I should be able to answer that question. And if I can't, I know that Mary Stevens can.
Well, thank you, Mr. Dragon. I think you hit the point on the head, and that, my main question, my inquiry is it poor budgeting, meaning did we not put enough in those lines? Or two, is it just, is it bad forecasting, or what is it?
No, it's the circumstances that we're in. Many of these lines, we've had people that we've had to hire to be substitutes because teachers are on leave.
I understand.
Because whatever, the snow is a great example. I mean, I don't know anybody who would have predicted after the past 5 years where if we saw a flake of snow, we said, oh my God, it's going to snow. This year, we had how many inches in the space of 2 days?
Right, it was record snowfall.
So
again, going along with the Envision report here, I'm not going to go through the whole thing, obviously, but some of the major parts that stick out. Administrator salaries, Park Avenue. This shows that we're over $48,000. And that was supposed to last us for the year. Moving along to A2110
And just ask a question on that, because I did notice
oh,
that.
you did have a question? Sure, go ahead.
And I think, what page is that on?
Page 5 of 27. I would assume that again has to do with staffing, but we also have some kind of hybrid model going on there with
But
our administrators.
That's what I think I was looking at, because I don't think that's not happening this year. So, but it was the previous year. And is that what the difference is?
That's why we're spending more.
Could be, that could very well be the difference. One AP was at Northwest, split between the two, and now this year he's full-time.
So was
The
it,
park.
was the budget line being split because the resource was being put in 2 different buildings?
it actually
would
should have
assume
been,
so. Go ahead.
and it will be corrected when we allocate, because Dr. Landau, I want you to know, this man did a remarkable job in projecting where we are in staffing now. And I've just given to payroll a whole bunch of corrections that need to be made in the expenditures. So if we've had a person that was at Northwest and budgeted at Northwest, who's now at Park Avenue, the transfer will happen between the $57,000 surplus at Northwest and the $48,000 deficit at Park Avenue, and it'll disappear.
Right,
And
if
that
it's
just has to
being
do with the staff.
absorbed from somewhere else, then it makes sense.
Well, it is.
Okay.
Yeah, the expense line will shift, right. The budget will be adjusted and the expense line will be shifted.
Another area, non-instructional salaries in the high school, $39,000 over what we budgeted for.
2020?
Right, 2020-160-08. Instruction, non-instructional salaries, high school. Right.
Again, that might be because the person was being paid out of the high school line when in fact they were working at the middle school. You'll notice right above it
Mhm.
that there's $76,000 available in the middle school line. So I mean, I don't want to waste your time with this, but understand that when staff members move from one building to another, sometimes the payroll code doesn't shift from one building to another. That's why Dr. Lando and I are working really hard to get the budget in line with where the staff are really working.
Right, I understand that, and that's why I ask these questions, because you can't get that explanation on the spreadsheet.
Right.
So that's very valid. Few more. A 2110-130. This says teacher salary, high school, overexpended $442,000. Is that another situation of teachers? It's coming from
Very
another
well
line?
could be, because again, if you look right above, the middle school has a $672,000 surplus.
It does.
So therefore, and I'm not going to bet my professional career on this, I'll check it out, but what I'm believe is that there were some people who are being paid out of the high school line, but are really working at the middle school.
Mhm.
And the reallocation that Dr. Lando and I are doing will make that disappear.
All right, very good.
And we're probably going to give the same answer to the next 73 questions that you're going to ask, Mr. Leon, but
Mr. Dragon, you've been here for 6 days. Be nice. But listen, like I said, I'm not going to go through all of them, but I do believe let me say it this way. I do believe it is the job of a good board member to go through the finances
Absolutely.
and ask these questions.
Absolutely.
All right.
I'm very happy that you are, because there are some board members who just accept these reports and say, okay, not my problem.
I want you to know, when you hit generate on these, it meant something. I
Yep.
read them.
Yep.
All right.
Any
Madam
other
President,
questions
I'm
on
all
this?
set. No.
And I just ask, when we see the line by line comparison, are we going to see 26, 27? I'm sorry, 25, 26, our current year with the adjustments?
You're going to see 25, 26 budget, 26, 27 proposed budget.
Right.
You're also going to see in the next treasurer's report, 25, 26 with the
All of
the transfers of expense. So you should see many fewer large surpluses and large deficits.
Okay, I guess I was
Sure.
asking, when we compare, are we going to be looking at the corrected
Yeah, you're going to be
25,
looking,
26?
you're going to be looking at 5 years worth of expense,
I understand that.
but we're by law,
You can't.
we're required to compare the budget
Okay, as is.
to the budget,
Okay,
not the adjusted budget.
not after the transfers.
When we present this to the community, we need to present a comparison of next year's proposed budget to this year's adopted budget, not adjusted, but adopted.
Okay, so we'll do all the adjustments at the next work session.
I hope so.
Okay.
Can I ask one more question? Charter schools had a huge
I believe 100.
200,000 deficit. So we just calculated wrong last year?
I think there were probably last year, if I remember correctly, 74 students in charter schools, and this year there are 85 at about $20,000 per child.
That's about
That explains it right there.
Any other questions on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries, aye. Motion carries 6-0. Can I have a motion for agenda item 3, E1A, please.
Motion.
Chris Nair first, Carol Seehofer second. Any discussion on this item? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 6-0. Can I do agenda items 3F1 and 3F2 together?
No.
Can I have all right, can I have a motion for agenda item 3F1, please?
Motion.
Chris Nair first, Carol Seehofer is second. Any discussion on agenda item 3F1, please? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 6-0. Can I have a motion for agenda item 3F2, please?
Motion.
Leslie Kretz is first, Chris Nair is second. Any discussion on agenda item 3F2, please?
So I understand this to be a consultant to provide parent workshops to go over Google Classroom, Parent Square, different platforms that we've been using for a number of years, and I'm not sure why we're going to a consultant if we can, I thought the high school was providing parent workshops for that already, and I guess that's my opinion, to do it in-house rather than go to a consultant to provide the parent workshops.
So to have a greater contextual understanding of why Bright Minds technology is utilized for this service, I'm going to ask Ms. Stevens to offer an explanation.
So one of the requirements of the RECOVS grant is that we contract with MWBE providers. So this helps us to fulfill this requirement. We did work with Bright Minds over the summer for providing teacher professional development. We thought the presenters were outstanding, and so we thought that it would be great to work with the parent group. The presenters are bilingual. They're experienced in working with parents on the platforms and helping make the connection to the learning loss. So understanding how, if you're able to monitor your child's progress, that you'll be able to support them better.
Okay, I guess you hit, I mean, I had no idea about the MWBE requirement. So does this fulfill the extent of the what else do you do for the MWBE requirement?
So we do have a list of vendors that we use for various purposes. So we can order supplies from the MWBE vendors. So it's not just this. It's a percentage of our grant that we're doing.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions on this item? Sure, go ahead, Dr. Talbot.
The parent workshop that Ms. Stevens is speaking of will take place Saturday, March 21st, from 9 to 11. Continental breakfast and refreshments are served. It's a parent's guide to school technology. So please spread the word. It is posted and it has been circulating on social media. Parents as Partners for Student Success Program.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 6-0. Is there any old business I'll start with?
Madam President, not old business, but in response to trustee Leslie Kretz, the appropriation status report that ended January 31st, just so we know, payment to charter schools, $197,548. It continues to grow.
Over.
It's over. That's the amount over, yeah.
Yes, she said. Yeah. Yeah, she said like $200,000 over.
No. I wasn't correcting you. I was saying it out loud so everyone knows what the report says. That's all. But I mentioned you because you had mentioned it initially. That's all.
Any other question? I'm sorry. Any old business? Anyone have any old business?
Yes.
Go ahead, Dr. Talbot.
Yeah.
Make one comment. Trustee Leon's point is very well taken. Actually, we shared with the board a resolution that about 14 other districts across Suffolk and Nassau County have passed regarding charter schools. And so certainly we would like for the board to discuss that particular resolution and to bring it in April in hopes of a supportive vote that charter schools are pretty much siphoning public school dollars away from students in public schools. So perhaps we could have a greater discussion on that at the April board meeting. Thank you.
Yeah, I was gonna bring it under new business, but that's fine. Or, no, that's fine. Go ahead. Any other old business?
Yes. So we've been talking about bringing in scope for the summer program, and I was hoping that the contract would be ready for 3/18, but if you can provide an update.
Sure, Ms. Stevens?
I am still working with Scope. We are waiting for them so we can share their proposal with our legal team. So,
Oh, so you don't have the proposal yet?
no, I'm still waiting for it from them.
Okay, are you asking for summer end this school year, or should we?
So we are talking about both, but we're trying to
Just trying to get
secure
the summer through.
Correct.
Yes, okay.
Correct.
The 3 through 6 gifted program, Dr. Talbot, you shared an outline of brainstorming and how that outline is gonna come, or the program is gonna come to fruition. I know we're having a line by line budget, but I have it in my notes here. How are you anticipating that implementation in the budget for next year?
So we're not. The board's resolution that was passed indicated Title IV funding
Okay, yep.
to support gifted and talented, so it's not in the general budget. I know Ms. Stevens has been working on that. Would you like to provide the update that you have today to the board?
Sure. The Park Avenue Committee has been looking at other programs. They're moving ahead with their timeline to make recommendations and then start implementing. So the title grant is written over the summer, but we're looking to use the funding from Title IV to support the programs that they end up recommending.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we had discussions early on in the year about the lack of a contract for the vending machines. And I went back to the corrective action. You're laughing at me?
No, because it was like a flashback of it about the vending machines, not laughing at you, but just a flashback about the vending machines and the whole issue with the vending. So
Okay.
not at you, I'm just
Okay.
smiling.
It's okay, I don't,
Not
wasn't
you.
sure about that response.
No, not you.
I mean, I brought it up. You can laugh at me. It was
No, I'm
my
not.
issue.
No,
And I'm actually prepared to discuss it tonight.
No, I'm not. Please don't get offended.
No,
I'm
no, I
not
wasn't
laughing
offended.
at
I wasn't
anyone. I'm just like, the vending machines, they won't go away. That's all.
Yeah, so I went back to the corrective action plan, and we had indicated that we would go back out to bid by the end of the year, by the December 31st. So I wanted to inquire about, and I know that Mr. Dragon is filling this role, so I just wanted to bring this back up and to understand where we stood. Was anything in motion to go back out to bid to engage and get a contract in place? Or if this is, where are we? That's what I want to understand.
We're pretty much where we were when Mr. Snyder gave the latest update. I have shared the corrective action plan with Mr. Dragon. We have a pending meeting to go through the items that we are continuing to address, and we will provide the board with an update.
All right,
Can I chime in on that real quick? Again, I'm sure Mr. Dragon has bigger fish to fry than the vending machines, but on principle alone, there are a number of vending machines not owned or operated by the ATA. Those are fine because there's a side letter agreement with that. But I believe that there is a side letter agreement. It's in the contract, yes. So what I'm talking about is there are a number of machines that are being serviced. Individuals come in, restock it, collect the money. Nobody knows where the money goes. It's a mystery. It's not a lot of money, but I mean, the school should be entitled to something. Our previous financial assistant superintendent felt that that money should go into our food service program. He felt that that's where it truly belonged. But anyway, to rehash it for a second, that was the issue, that there's a number of machines. No one knows where the money's going to. They're not compliant with our school policy our healthy food policy, and they're just basically operating on their own. Again, not the biggest issue of the day, but at some point, maybe when things die down, I would like to see some kind of resolution to it.
Any other old business?
Yes, I had questioned the 1-year seat on the ballot, and legal had provided a response that the 1-year seat would go to the candidate with the fourth highest votes. So because that was a little conflicting, we
Yes.
kind of intuitively were like, oh, it should go to the highest vote getter, but because they get appointed that night, but legally you have confirmed that it's the other way around.
So the first.
Correct.
The first 3 people with the highest votes get the 3-year term.
The longest terms.
The longest term. And the 4th person will get the 1-year term.
Correct. 1 year and 42 days.
1 year, 42 seconds.
So to recap, there's 4 seats open.
Yes.
Whoever comes in 4th place wins the prize of a 1-year term.
Yes, thank you.
All other participants will receive a 3-year term.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Sorry, I blundered that. Has the wellness committee met this year? Because we do have the annual review of the wellness policy, and I just want to, we want that in place for the start of the new year, and it might take some back and forth. I was just curious where that committee stood.
I'll ask Ms. Stevens to give us an update.
The Wellness Committee has had 2 meetings so far this year. I believe they have 1 left on the calendar.
Oh, okay. So they've been reviewing and updating the wellness policy to bring to the policy committee?
They have been working on the requested recommendations, yes.
Thank you. Okay, sorry. For the budget meeting that we have not rescheduled yet, but we'll figure that out. Could we please have the reserve balance, all of the reserves and the balances available at that meeting? A few months back, I had asked to see the past 3 years of it, so we could kind of see the trend of where are we pulling money from, or where, how much are we spending out of these reserves? Because we still have to figure out what are we doing with the $4 million in excess of that's sitting in our unassigned fund balance. And we have to also think about if we really end the year with $3 million again in excess, where's that money going to go? So I would like to hopefully have all of that together when we're talking about next year's budget. That's my request. I don't know if we need a board consensus or, Okay.
I'm saying that's good. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
Okay,
That's
thank you.
something we can provide.
Okay, thank you. That's it.
Any other old business, anyone? But for new business, and Dr. Talbot mentioned for me was, there was information that we all received about the charter school and the resolution. Hopefully everyone has had an opportunity to review it. And it's something that I think that we need to think about. I think everyone has the right to make a decision where they want to attend school. I think it's very important. We just need to look at as a district that when we have students who attend a charter school, it costs us, costs the district. So just look at the resolution and please be prepared to discuss that at our next meeting. So therefore we can either decide, either we're gonna not support it or we're gonna support that particular resolution. There was one other thing I had, but it just went out of my mind. Does anyone else have anything for new business as I get my other slot back again?
We revisit the transportation proposals.
We can look at that, yeah, continue to look at that. The transportation proposal. I don't think it was meant to relook at again tonight. I think we were just saying that I think we need to continue discussion. I think we need to talk about if there's any additional options that we want to look at. I think that's one. I think it requires more of a discussion on that particular matter.
But I think we need to have that discussion tonight so they can look at those options and have those prepared for us so we can make a decision.
Okay. I think for me, I'll go ahead, Trustee Nair. What? Second Vice President, yeah.
I mean, I don't know what what the math would be, and I know there was a few options that we were discussing. And I know uniformity for the buildings is obviously makes things easier, I would think. So are we able to look at combining option 2 and option 3 and, or really, probably even more than that? What the cost would be of pre-K through 5 at half a mile? And then 6 to 12 at a mile? Is that, or is that, no, that wasn't. 6 to 8, yes, that's right. 6 to 8 at a mile, and then 9 through 12 at a mile and a half.
Yeah. And so once again, you said pre-K through 5
Pre-K through 5, so
At-
that would be northeast, northwest, and Park Avenue.
as 0.5 miles. And then 6 through 8, a mile,
So that'd be
middle
the
school.
middle school,
And then 9 through 12, 1.5.
yes. So that means every building, all the grades in each building have the same mileage. And then we wouldn't be taking away from any of the students that are, the grades that are already getting transportation. Is that,
So I would be, oh, I'm sorry.
No, we would have to.
Just
get
go more to the mic.
an estimate of how
right,
much extra
but I
that
just feel like
costs.
we should
Can
get
we
a
do that?
consensus,
Yeah.
or, I mean, if there's another option that somebody else wants to look at, so then we have multiple options like we did today.
I would want to see what that option looks like as one.
I would be interested in 3 through 5 being half a mile. So it's option 2. So it's pre-K to 2, half mile, 3 to 5, half mile, and 6 through 12 remains the same, a mile and a half.
Oh, so you're saying, so so you're saying 6 through 12, a mile and a half.
That would, yeah.
Okay.
It remains the same.
So basically, it's the same thing, pre-K through 5, basically 0.5 miles. And then 6 through 12 would be 1.5 miles.
But right now, 6th grade is a mile.
I'm sorry, I was looking at option 2. So I was looking at the hybrid of option 2, but
So then we would be,
I was just,
right now, 6th graders, but 6th graders right now.
Or a mile.
Are a mile. So then we would be,
right, so
so
6th grade would still change so that it was consistent with the building.
so you're looking to take it away, increase the mileage for 6th graders from 1 mile to a mile and a half? So then we'd be taking away from the 6th graders.
Okay.
But I just think we need to think of,
It's just an idea. It's just, that would be consistent in the building.
Right.
And what I had expressed earlier was just the age group of the 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders at Park Avenue to go to the half mile. So
I
it's
think
what I
that,
would be interested to see.
that-
I'm
that'll
not saying
be-
that we're gonna approve it.
right, that'll be another thing
Yeah.
to look at. I think, so pre-K to 5.5, 6 to 12, 1.5. I just want to, I think we need to really keep in mind that with the middle school and where it's located, that we have kids who are up north further on County Line Road, close to the Southern State, going across 110, going down by 7-Eleven and all that area, that it will not, if it's a 1.5, they would not get busing. And there's a lot of ways that they have to walk. Just like if it's the other direction down here, if it's from 6 to 8 and it's down in East Massapequa and South Annabelle, they're going to get a bus because they're more than a distance away. So I think we really have to, and even if there may be certain individuals that right here in the village area that may be a mile from the village into to the middle school. So it's thinking about all those kids coming from all different directions and the way that they have to travel. And there may be sidewalks, but there may be issues, but there's a lot of busy roads that are out that way. And so that's why as we get the course, then when we get the course, these are things that we need to be able to discuss to make some decisions. So we're getting course for, once again, pre-K through 5.5, 6 through 8, 1, and 9 through 12, 1.5 miles. And looking at number 2, pre-K through 5.5 miles, and 6 through 12, 1.5 miles. So looking at the cost for those two as well.
And
Is there any other options that people want to look at?
I just want to point out, I'm not saying to not get that other option because I would like to see it, but I would like to point out that there's been a number of people that have raised concerns of students being pulled from the district, going from Park Avenue to the middle school. And I feel like if we're going to be reducing the busing, going to the middle school, that would, if that's the actual trend, then I would think that would make that number even worse. If people are going to see that, all right, if I'm going to send my kids to the middle school, they're not going to get busing, but they would have last year if they were going here.
Okay, I understand. I was just going off of the option that the transportation director had put together and taking into account that he had identified that having different mileages for the middle school and the high school was going to be extremely challenging, and with the start times of the buildings. And I was simply suggesting a different option, not one that we're necessarily voting on. That's all.
Right, I know, I'm not saying to not consider it, I wanted to point that out, so while we're moving to that point to consider it, people could think about that.
Yeah, it's just, I think people are just giving their opinion based on different things. So we'll get the cost for these two. Any other suggestions that we would like to see? Anything different from what was already been presented? So we're looking at any additional suggestions for options. That's all.
Well, Madam President, my question is, when is the hard deadline that this is needed by? That's my question.
Dr. Talbot?
That was my clarifying question as well, Trustee Leon, so thank you. We mentioned if we are submitting this in the first legal notice, that the vote would need to take place tonight if there were going to be any changes. Then the question was posed, could this be extended to the second posting of the legal notice? And if I heard correctly, legal,
John?
that it's not a preferred option, but is it a possibility? And while we wait.
So you have.
I just need to look at your policies.
Okay, so while legal is doing that, I'll weigh in. When it comes to busing, I'm easy, okay? I will not vote for anything that takes away busing from children that currently have it. I'm in favor of increasing busing to get more children dedicated rides to the school. However we do that, the board decides. I'm against decreasing. I'm in favor of increasing.
Mr. Dragon, did you want to weigh in on
Yes,
the transportation?
I've already had a conversation with Mr. Spence while we were having this discussion and asked him to cost out some of the options that we're talking about now. I feel freed a little bit by legal telling us that it would not necessarily be a fatal flaw to have the second legal notice different than the first. Listen, as you know, people could litigate anything. And if somebody was really anxious to have us not have the proposition passed, they may litigate the fact that it wasn't included in the first legal notice. I'm sure John would give his best legal counsel to defend us, but who knows what the commissioner would rule, number one. Number two, the second thought that I have is this is not just a matter of cost. It's also a matter of revenue, because we only get state aid for transportation services provided more than 1.5 miles from school to home. You can do anything you want in terms of providing services. You could make it 0 if you want, but then every child who gets on that bus who lives less than 1.5 miles away from school is not going to generate state aid. Now, we got a significant amount of state aid for our transportation costs. So we're talking about not just increasing costs, we're also talking about reducing revenue. But this board represents this community, and what you want to do, we will figure out a way to do it. I know that Nate is very concerned about making sure that he could make efficient use of the buses. To give you an example, let's say we make 6 through 12 a mile and a half. Everybody is or even a mile. Well, we can do it. We'll just have to get two sets of buses, one to run the middle school and one to run the high school. And we'll be doubling our secondary transportation costs. I don't think we want to do that, but
So I think it's good to get the numbers and kind of see.
Sure.
I just kind of feel that this really requires more of a discussion. So therefore, the board, I'll speak for that I'm comfortable with it, and hopefully all the board members would be comfortable with any proposition that would go forward. So I think we should get the information and also allow enough time for the community to be informed about a potential proposition that would affect the bus in one way or the other, for the buildings to be informed as well. So I think it's important for us to get the information, but I also kind of think, this is my opinion, that we need to slow it down a little bit. So therefore, we are definitely making an informed decision and looking at all the avenues. So I look forward to getting the information, and then as a board, we can continue the discussion to make a decision about what we want to do regarding this proposition.
and if I could ask Ms. Johnson, everyone on the board, please go out and look for bus drivers, because we don't have enough bus drivers now for our existing routes. So
If we
increased cost, decreased revenue, and not enough bus drivers. Those are the things, those are the factors that we're trying to, I'd love, as Mr. Leon said, I'd love to provide universal transportation to everybody.
I didn't say that.
No, you'd like to increase, but you'd like to increase rather than decrease service. I understand that. I'd love to provide every kid with a taxi from home to school. It just is not possible.
Right, and if I could just say this, that if we stay with the plan that we currently have, everyone is used to it. It's not bad. It exceeds New York State requirements. The only thing I'm saying is, if we can find, if it makes sense financially, and we're able to, however we want to do it, either increase the building or the grade level even slightly, whatever the board decides is appropriate. That's fine. That's something I would consider.
So we have the suggested additional things that we would like to be looked at. We want to get information on regarding what would the cost be. And so, any other conversation on the transportation? Any other?
So,
you.
to answer your question.
I'm sorry.
That was pending. Thank you for the time. The last day for proposition to be submitted by voters is 30 days prior to the budget vote. So that would be really the last possible date for a proposition to be approved by the board. We do, so that's April 19th. But we do, we recommend that it be as soon as possible, preferably with the first, annual note to go in with a legal notice, but it's not possible, then 30 days prior to the vote would be the last possible day, certainly earlier the better.
Thank you. Any other new business? Can I go to community input at this point? So community input on non-agenda items. Before you get started, hold on one second, we got the time all together. As a reminder to everyone that comes to the mic, please be respectful when you come to the mic. And please fill out the card to give to the district clerk. Thank you.
My name is Julie Colarafi. Good evening. I'd like to, I went to the last meeting last time and there were some issues about school, declining attendance in the school and school safety. And I'd like to discuss that. This seems that there's a lawsuit currently against the Amityville School District, which is allegedly a violent sexual assault, which occurred in the Amityville High School a couple of years ago. And it alleges that there's a woefully inadequate and negligent supervision at the high school. So this highlights concerns about student safety and oversight. Research shows that students who don't feel safe have this less academic engagement and the learning suffers, which may contribute to the district's low proficiency scores. So I have a few questions. Since the alleged lack of supervision at the high school was a key factor in the lawsuit, what steps has the board taken to ensure that there's adequate supervision at all schools?
So I
Go ahead,
have a
Victor.
problem with that question.
Yeah.
Is that,
This is a legal counsel that's speaking.
an attorney for the school district, you're making an assertion based upon allegations.
I never asserted anything. I said
Well,
alleged.
I
said
know, but
alleged, alleged.
you're
I
using.
was very careful to use the
I
word
know, but
alleged.
let me speak, please. You are using that as the basis, as a leading proposition for your subsequent question. So, that, in my opinion, is not a proper question because you are making an assertion based upon allegation. And then assuming that that assertion is true, you're asking a follow-up question. I would ask that you rephrase your question without stating those allegations as something that is taken as the truth, as a fundamental to the question.
Okay, so what steps has the board taken to ensure adequate supervision at all the schools recently? Have you done any recent?
Dr. Talbot.
As it pertains to the health and safety of our students and staff at our schools, our teacher-to-student ratio is proportioned to what is in the best interest of child welfare. We have adequate administration that provides proper supervision. We have duty personnel who assist with supervising students inside the classroom as well as outside of the classroom. So we have factors in place that provide proper supervision for all of our students inside as well as outside the school.
Okay, thank you. I have another question. Can the board provide any data, anonymized data on the incidence of violence, bullying, or other safety concerns over the past few years?
Sure. There are various reports where we report school climate and safety measures internally as well as to the State Department. So yes, we do have data and measures that are taken.
Are these data about incidents that have occurred? Is this data, I mean, anonymized, so nobody's name is mentioned, just
Yes.
Numbers?
Yes.
Where's that available?
That information is located in the district. If you were to email, you can email me or see me right after the meeting and get my information, and we can see what your request really is and how we can provide the information.
Yeah, I just had a couple more questions. What procedures are in place for reporting incidents?
There are various procedures in place. It depends on the incident. There's a DASSAW reporting procedure that's followed for students when there's a bullying or harassment situation. We have a code of conduct that governs what the incidents may be, as well as the consequences of behaviors exemplified by students in school.
At what point is the local police notified of incidents in the school?
That varies based on the incidents.
So could you give an example of what would be reported to the local police?
It varies based on the severity of incidents.
Could you give me a specific example?
I don't think we can. Legal, can we give a,
So the code of conduct provides if the conduct constitutes a crime, then there's a report.
If it's a crime, okay. All right. Here's another question. Is there a gender imbalance at Edmund T. Miles Middle School as compared to the other schools, the elementary and high school?
Are you asking regarding enrollment?
Yes, what's the ratio of girls to boys at the Edmund T. Miles Middle School?
Oh, I don't have that information readily available, but we can provide that to you.
Yes, I'm very interested in that. Okay, and one more question. Are there programs in place to support students who have been exposed to trauma or unsafe situations?
Yes, we have PPS staff, we have social workers, we have school counselors, we have school psychologists, and we also partner with various agencies to help help meet the social emotional needs of our learners.
Okay, from what I understand, there are 6 school psychologists in the Amityville School District. And the ratio of student to psychologist is 1 to 470, and neighboring school districts have a much lower ratio of psychologists to students. It's like 1 to 340. So I was wondering, why isn't that prioritized? You know, that since there's so many at-risk students in the Amityville School District, why don't we have more school psychologists? Yes, that's right. Am I done? Okay, well, thank you.
I'm sorry, can I address Ms. Colarafi?
I think Dr. Tab was getting ready to answer the
Oh,
question.
I'm sorry.
So I would like to say that our student health and safety and emotional well-being is addressed through our PPS staff. As I described, in addition to psychologists, we have social workers and we have school counselors. And so they work collaboratively together across the district to help meet the needs of those students in so many different ways.
So is there a caseload? I mean, like how do they have, is there any information on the caseload or the waiting list? Or how long children have to wait to get to?
There are some mandated services, and they also provide non-mandated services.
Okay, well, thank you so much. I want to.
Thank you.
In the next few meetings, I want to follow up on this. Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming. Any questions?
I just wanted to make a suggestion to Ms. Colarafi. Just a suggestion, many of the metrics that you're looking for are good, free, and open to the public source is if you go on to the New York State Education website and you look, or go onto Google and type in New York State Report Card. That's open to the public, that's open to anyone. And on there, you can see various metrics such as student population, their ethnic makeup, student to teacher ratios, graduation rates, and a host of other things. You can compare Amityville to schools in Suffolk, to New York State. You know, you can go as far as you like with that, and that's open and free.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right.
Good evening, Caroline Fanning. I have a question about the switch from paper report cards and progress reports to online via Infinite Campus. I think at this point, we're less than 2 years into the change. And do you have any sense of the impact of it from parents, as far as parents being aware and on board with it?
Dr. Talbot?
Sure. Thanks for asking that question as it pertains to report cards. I'll ask Ms. Stevens to just provide any update that we may have at this time. If not, we can certainly get back to you in more detail.
I can speak anecdotally about it, that we do provide support for parents who indicate that they're unable to access on the portal. So we would print report cards for them if they needed it. I know that anecdotally, there aren't a lot of requests for that. There are a lot of comments about the ability to track students' grades in the portal, and see it not just at the end of the marking quarter. So we are getting positive responses about that.
Okay. I guess I mean, it sounded like a while ago the students were surveyed and they were asking, I don't know if it was just one school or district-wide, for a better balance of paper and screens. And I would imagine that if you asked the parents the same question, they would give the same answer. But I understand why you're not asking the parents that question more broadly. I do think it would be good to ask the parents the specific question: would you like to also get paper report cards and progress reports? We all remember the days when we were inundated with paper, but I feel like those two pieces are so important relative to everything else. If that's what other parents want, I don't want to speak for everyone, but I do think it's important to find out, because things move so fast. And if you have a kid that's struggling and they're not being told by a teacher that, they're at risk of failing math, the earlier the parent catches it, the better. So you, Ms. Stevens, mentioned parents struggling to get on, and it's great that they have help. But I'm sure there are many parents who are just distracted. They don't know the kid's in trouble until they find out 3 weeks after the fact, oh, progress reports are posted. Well, too late for me to do anything now. So that was my first commentary. This was not on my radar until I talked to a parent the other week who was talking about her disappointment. Does the district have a policy that they issue a minimum grade of 50 if a child scores below that on a test or report or a quiz?
In terms of policy or practice?
That is a practice, a minimum score of 50.
That came as a surprise to me when the parent told me, how is that not grade inflation?
So the theory behind it is that students can't recover from a single failing grade, right? So if they scored a 36 on a test, it would make it more difficult for them to do so. But the 50 is a failing grade that they could recover from.
And just to my knowledge, it's a common practice across many school districts.
Okay, I can understand that, but once again, speaking from the parent's perspective, if you have a parent who's not fully engaged, maybe they see a 50 on a test and don't understand that's really a 20 or whatever it is. How do you make sure the parents understand how poorly their kids are performing if you have this minimum?
I think that's in the communication with the parent. So those are phone calls to parents, meetings with guidance, meeting with teachers to conference about performance.
So is it automatic then that if a child does that poorly, the teacher has to reach out?
I would say it's expected.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Chris Hill, Amityville. Okay, two things. Okay, the line by line budget is canceled for tomorrow.
Yes, you have to direct the question towards me over here, please. Thank you.
Okay. It was canceled. Okay, we have a CBAT presentation that's due on April 15th. Okay. We'd like to have some kind of an idea when that is going to come forward so that, when we walk in here that day, that we know what we're talking about.
So we're looking to reschedule the line by line. Hopefully one day, we're trying to get a meeting rescheduled for next week.
Okay. And the second thing was, I watched the BOE meeting last time out on Zoom. And I tell you, when you're watching from your den, it gives you a different perspective of what you see. And the perspective I got is we let a whole lot of people who didn't reside in this district talk in the public sessions that we never should have at the expense of time for our own district residents. There should be some kind of a resolution that only district members speak at these proceedings. I'm talking about like this public talk and one we had earlier.
So I'm
There
just
should
gonna
be-
interrupt, in
There should
legal.
be nobody else talking. in
So,
this.
if, correct me, like, this is a public meeting, so as a public meeting, anyone is allowed to come to the mic and to make a comment. So it's a public meeting, we cannot deny anyone from coming to the mic to ask a question.
At the expense of somebody else?
It's a public meeting, so legal, go ahead.
So the Committee on Open Government has opined that you cannot limit the speakers to only residents, although the Commissioner of Education has a different opinion on that same topic.
Yeah, but those people can come forward at any other time. Why does it have to be one of these?
It's a public
That's-
meeting.
That's the opinion of the Committee on Open Government. They have a website. You could always put your opinion into the Committee on Government to change that opinion, but that's their opinion.
All right, because I heard them talking about a lot of non-educational things when they came up here, and that shouldn't be allowed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Nikhil Wolf, President of ATA. Many of the presidents on Long Island have received information and have had conversations and meetings surrounding charter schools. And one of the things that we want to make sure that when boards are considering the resolution that came out of the Long Island President's Council is that this is not about choice. This is not an indictment on choice. This is a matter of accountability for charter schools. This is a matter of having community have an opportunity to voice how it is that whether or not they want a charter school in their community. This is about whether or not the monies that are going to charter schools, for example, if a student leaves Amityville and goes to a charter school, and then for whatever reason, because a charter school can, kick that student out, and then that student returns to the district doesn't get that money back. So the district is without that money, and then the school has to find money in that budget to really kind of pay for that student twice. So please, we would just want to make sure that when we are speaking about this charter school this charter school resolution, in no way, shape, or form is it about teachers who are saying that we are against it when it comes to the board or that we're against choice. We just are advocating for, number one, accountability and community input, because typically charter schools pop up and community doesn't really have input, but the budgets that they approve for their public school districts to have monies are taken out of that to go to those charter schools. So I just want to make sure that there is no misunderstanding as to what that resolution is about. It is not about choice. It's just about accountability and community voice. Thank you.
Thank you. Go, Dr. Talbot.
And just wanted to thank Mr. Wolf and the Teachers Union for sharing that resolution, as union presidents have shared those all across the island with their superintendents to bring to the board for consideration. So thank you for making sure Amityville was in the loop.
Hi, good evening, everyone. A few months ago, I asked.
Just give your name first.
Deborah Lee.
Thank you.
A few months ago, I asked the board to reconsider and revisit the removal of policy 90/20/40R, which addressed diversity initiatives. By any chance, do you have an update?
No, we do not. We have not had a policy committee meeting for a couple months. We were snowed out, I think twice it was. So we're looking to meet again.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, Patricia Hobson. It's been a while since I've been to a board meeting, but I do want to say to the school board, thank you. Despite comments and criticisms that are made here, I want you to know, as a community member who speaks to children in the community, thank you for what you do. There are children and families that do appreciate the work and the programs that you do. There was a time whenever presentations came forth, whether it be athletes or from your theater production, I'd like to see more of that. I think as a whole, the community needs to see, the board needs to see the wonderful things that you are doing for children. It is sad to come to a meeting and sit here throughout the night and hear criticism, contradiction, disrespect. We should be better role models for the children. People that are not happy have options, and I think they should exercise them in a better way to show support for the adults that are volunteering their extra time outside of salary, and that we find better ways to say thank you for the work that you do. I appreciate you, and I thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Cheryl Quintine Bass, 4 Delaware Avenue. I want to say it is refreshing to attend a meeting where civility has endured for the entire duration of this meeting. I do appreciate that. This is what meetings should be like. I want to highlight that the issue of charter schools is not unique to Amityville, and to reiterate also that currently Brentwood and Central Islip, they have a lawsuit filed against NYSEP because they recognize that charter schools are taking resources from the district schools. I also want to comment about the community members who come and speak. Those people, inverted commas, they have a vested interest in our community. They're business people, places of worship. They have family members. They were resident here before possibly, and they are resources for our community. So I welcome hearing what other community members have to say. You don't have to reside in Amityville to have a vested interest in Amityville. And finally, I wanted to talk about transportation. And if extending the mileage is going to provide students the opportunity to get to school, so it's going to improve attendance, it's going to improve safety, then I think that's something we should consider. What is money? What is dollars? What is $250,000 when we think of the worth and the value that we can get from investing that in our students? Recently, we extended transportation by 2 miles for a category of students, and we should consider how we can also get more of our students in school on time and safely. And certainly we do not want to take away from 3rd graders. Those are the most vulnerable of the population. So we don't want to undo what we have, but I think we should look towards improving on what we have. And whilst we do want everyone to have door-to-door transportation, that is not possible, but we should consider looping in more of our students who cross some very dangerous streets and who walk some very lonely alleyways and cross over backyards and fences and so on to make a shortcut to school. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Are there any other community input on non-agenda items? I'm seeing none. Can I have a motion to
Can I
adjourn?
just make one comment, President Johnson? I just wanted to mention that Second Vice President Nearing, myself, of course, Superintendent Talbert, and the cabinet attended the National Honor Society induction ceremony last week, which was just absolutely beautiful. It was wonderful and rewarding to see the amount of seniors that are part of that society and the way they welcomed undergrad students into the society. It was an absolutely beautiful evening, and I just want to thank everyone, the cabinet involved in putting it together, and once again, to see that many seniors and other students in the society speaks volumes. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to adjourn at 10:56?
Motion.
Chris Neron is first.
Second.
Carol Seal for second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 6-0. Thank you for joining us.